Here and welcome to my live stream. I guess we could call this the Good Gut Group or the Good Gut Show, whatever you want to call it. I'll figure it out at some point. We just started. Anyway, the topic today is the pandemic of thyroid problems. And this is from Mark Hyman, MD. If you haven't checked him out, please do. He's an amazing functional medicine doctor that I see him every day on LinkedIn. He's everywhere, and he has some really good things today to say about lots of things, all functional. He likes to call things different names, like he calls the paleo diet the pagan diet. It's a little different, but it's probably the same. He calls functional medicine root cause medicine, which is actually my favorite thing to call it. And actually, you can now see me. Boy, I was a little too close yesterday. But anyway, so this is what he said yesterday. I saw this as a post yesterday. Thyroid disease affects 1 in 5 women and 1 in 10 men. 1 in 5 women and 1 in 10 men. Yet 50% of people, oh, that's the ice cream truck. Yeah. Yet 50% of people with thyroid disease go undiagnosed. Now, I looked up the statistics for COVID deaths, okay? And I swear to God, having thyroid problems is like having a gradual death. COVID, 3 to 10% of deaths during COVID, okay? 3 to 10%. And yet we're looking at 20%, around 20%. And then 50% of people aren't diagnosed, and they're not diagnosed. And I hate to say it again about doctors, but they're not diagnosed because doctors won't do the testing. Okay, let me kind of explain. The thyroid is, I call it the thermostat of the body. It controls your metabolism. The cool thing about it is there are thyroid receptors on every cell in the body. So it is important because there are not receptors for every single thing on every cell of the body. But there are thyroid receptors on every cell of the body because it controls the metabolism in the body. So if you have a problem with those receptors, which a lot of people do, they're like little fingers, or I call them the docking modules for the Starship Enterprise, because I'm a dyed-in-the-wool Trekkie. I saw the original show. That's how old I am. So, yeah. So what happens is a lot of times the thyroid is the one that gets attacked most. The thyroid is around here somewhere. Okay. So that's why if you see people with thyroid cancer, you see that they've got a scar. I worked with a couple of people like that. Anyway, the thyroid is really one of the most important organs of our body. And when it gets screwed up, it really gets screwed up. So here's the thing. Doctors test a thyroid panel. The thyroid panel tells you nothing until you have dyed-in-the-wool thyroid disease called mostly hypothyroid. Sometimes it calls hyperthyroid. Either the thyroid is speeding up or the thyroid is slowing down. A lot of times the people with hyperthyroid have eventually have hypothyroid. People take medication for it. All well and good. But the other thing is, here's my big thing, is that I have to cross my legs. Don't know why, but right now, so everything's shook. Excuse it. But here's the thing. We're dealing with the chicken or the egg thing. The thyroid problems may start with an autoimmune disease called Hashimoto's thyroiditis. Hashimoto's thyroiditis. And the statistic is about 80 to 90% of the people who have thyroid problems have Hashimoto's thyroiditis. And you would think doctors would test for that, right? They don't. It is so hard to get them to test for Hashimoto's. I try to not spend people's money. I could test for it with a functional test, but it costs money and I don't want to do that. So I send them to the doctor and I say, do these tests: TPO antibodies, TG antibodies, reverse T3. Sometimes I get one of the three, sometimes I get two of the three. It's really vital that we all have those tests. And when I went to a doctor, I finally broke down and went to a doctor because I go to alternative practitioners, including myself. And we had an argument over, oh no, she said a thyroid panel is fine. And I went, why don't you do these three tests? And she went, it's really not necessary. So now I'm looking for another doctor because it's really important if you think that you have either Hashimoto's thyroiditis or a thyroid problem to get tested. Very important. And twist your doctor's arm to get tested with either with both TPO antibodies and TG antibodies, because your doctor usually won't do reverse T3 because it's a foreign entity for them, number one, and number two, it's an expensive test. I think Hashimoto's is a pandemic, right? It's much more of a pandemic than COVID was, when we had to cover. I had to do it longer than you guys because I work in a hospital, and keep our distance and blah 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 blah. Yeah, I'm so glad we're kind of out of it. We still have to wear masks in the hospital. I do sometimes. So I really have to stress the fact that thyroid problems are a pandemic and you need to get them checked out. And if thyroid is a pandemic, okay, and if you got it and you got Hashimoto's thyroiditis, doctors cannot help you. Alternative medicine can. Root cause medicine, as Mark Hyman calls it, functional medicine can. And there's a wonderful lady named Isabella Went. I think her last name is Went. She was a pharmacist who cured herself of Hashimoto's thyroiditis by diet and supplements, my favorite things. So if you think that you got a problem with Hashimoto's thyroiditis, a lot of times when our hair is falling out, we have fatigue, a lot of other symptoms. I'm not going to go in over all of them now, but please check it out because it's something that can be helped with root cause or functional medicine. It really can't be helped with a doctor, and the doctor will probably laugh you out of the exam room and tell you to come back when your TSH is screwy. All right, TSH is thyroid stimulating hormone, and most of the time, thyroid stimulating hormones. Say that fast 5 times. And the doctor is looking for weirdness in your thyroid panel, which really doesn't tell you a lot until you end up with thyroid disease. I don't want you to do that. I want you to help yourself not get there. And it's very easy for you to get Hashimoto's if you're genetically predisposed to it. Now, let me kind of explain that, because if you have leaky gut, okay, and when you have leaky gut, there's just a hop, skip, and a jump to inflammation, and then a hop, skip, and a jump to autoimmune is when the body starts attacking itself. I know that sounds weird, but the body does, because it mistakes other things for your body. Case in point, gluten. Gluten is very similar chemically to your joint tissue. So, those of you with arthritis, listen up. I'll do another live stream on this. So, when you have an autoimmune disease about gluten, it will attack the gluten, but will also attack your joints. So, in other words, if you're genetically predisposed to thyroid disease, and I am, if I have inflammation, I may have thyroid disease. You don't have to have digestive problems to have autoimmune disease. So listen up. Thyroid problems are a pandemic and something that needs to be addressed by someone because doctors just ain't doing it. Oh, and by the way, the little address is on the bottom. I would love you to subscribe to my gut food newsletter, which is healyourhealthnow.com/newsletters. Go there and see my past newsletters, all about different things. And I'm going to do a thyroid one next week. My next one is coming out tomorrow. So go there and check it out because chock full of gut news and gut research and even gut funnies. So go there. The second address is my full script apothecary. You may be interested in supplements there. And I actually do have a thyroid protocol for you. So you check that out too. Okay, good Queen Jill. I think I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow. Maybe something on mindfulness because I believe it's crucial to be okay in our crazy world. And I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye bye. Have a good Sunday or Monday if you're in that part of the world. Bye bye.